What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another football video. This time we're going to be talking about the Premier League Team of the Year. This, in my opinion, is the Premier League Team of the Year. I'm also going to cover the substitute bench, some honourable mentions, and then, of course, the big awards at the end of the season. And so, I'm going to crack on with this video, and I'm going to take you through my team. And I'm going to start off with the goalkeeper. So, in my opinion, goalkeeper for Team of the Year, I've gone for Liverpool's #1, Allison. I think he's had a solid season for Liverpool. It was a close call between him and Ederson. Considering these awards are done before the end of the season, it's now impossible to tell who's going to be able to keep the most clean sheets. But near enough, all season it's been neck and neck for Allison and Ederson. Allison's led all the way near enough, and he's had a wonderful season. And so he's made it as my goalkeeper for Team of the Year. Now, in the right-back position, gone for a little bit of a controversial one here. I've gone for Crystal Palace's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think he's had an incredible season for Crystal Palace, and I'll be extremely surprised if he's still with Crystal Palace come the start of the 2019-2020 season. I think his season's been that solid. He's been linked with moves to Manchester United, also Manchester City too. He's getting linked with some of the big teams in the Premier League, and that shows you just how impressive he's been at the right-back position in the Premier League this season, and in my opinion, my right-back of the season. Now for the centre-backs, first up I'm going to talk Virgil van Dijk. Very obvious, very predictable. We've got to go with Van Dijk. He has had an incredible season, absolutely immense for Liverpool, and he's been their rock at the back and a player that's been much needed, and he has made the difference for Liverpool. He earns his place in the team, and the other player at centre-back I've gone for Aymeric Laporte of Manchester City. Again, a player that's had an incredible season for Manchester City and influential in their system of play, which is to work the ball out from the back. He's one of the best, not just in the Premier League, but in my opinion, in the world. Harshly not called up for France's national team. I can't name you many players better at the centre-back position for able to distribute as well as what Aymeric Laporte can. And so, in my opinion, Manchester City's best centre-back. Liverpool and Manchester City being the two standout teams, so I've gone for one centre-back each, and in my opinion, both their best centre-backs. Now, at left-back, another fairly obvious one, this. It's Robertson, Andy Robertson of Liverpool. He's had an incredible season. Once again, he's getting the assists, he's going forward, he's making things happen. Liverpool are keeping clean sheets. I don't think there's a lot else to discuss, if I'm honest. So we're just going to move on to the midfield. Now, I was a bit torn with the midfield because there's many players that have had good seasons. To say that they've had an outstanding season to go in my Team of the Year, it's difficult, and so I've put a surprise in here, and I've left a couple on the bench, and I've also put some in the honourable mentions too, so feel free to disagree and put them in your team. This is just what I've gone for, but I've gone for Fernandinho in that defensive midfield role. I've gone for a 4-3-3 formation, a holding midfielder there, Fernandinho. I can't name you a player that's had a better season than Fernandinho in the holding midfield role. The only other player off top of my head that I can think of is Ruben Neves, and it was harsh for me to leave Ruben Neves out. And so harsh, I decided not to, so I put Ruben Neves to go a little bit further forward in midfield. Not his most natural position. I just think Neves has had an outstanding season. I don't just want to put this team full of Manchester City and Liverpool players. The large majority are going to be of them players, but there's other players for other clubs that have had outstanding seasons, and Neves has had an outstanding season for Wolves. He's made it into my team. Now, sitting on top of the midfield, I've gone for Bernardo Silva. Played there sometimes this season, particularly in the first part of the season, and more out on the wing, or out wide for the second half of the season. But in my opinion, Bernardo Silva has had an outstanding season. I can't name you a creative midfield player that has had a better season this season than Bernardo Silva. He runs, he tracks back, he passes well, he scores goals, he gets assists, and he works hard for the team. Everything you'd want from a midfielder, he has to be in there. And so, because he's a winger and I can't really put him into the wings, there's two, in my opinion, more standout players there. I've gone for the most obvious player there, which is Raheem Sterling. Once again, having a wonderful season. He's started to score goals for England too. He's shining in confidence. People are starting to learn to like Raheem Sterling rather than turning on him like he's had for the last few years. His stand-up to racism has been incredible this season, Raheem Sterling, and Raheem Sterling's response, rather than cowering down, getting upset about it, he's just got better and better and better. What an absolutely incredible season he's had, and what an incredible player he is, and very deserving to be on my Team of the Year for the 2018-19 season. The other player I've gone for is Sadio Mane. I know Mo Salah has, I think, scored more goals than Mane. Mane, though, for me, does more for the team than what Salah does. Mo Salah is a player that had a wonderful season last season. He's had a great season this season. Has he pushed on? Has he gone that extra mile? Has he got the consistency there? Mo Salah's like I said, he's had a great season this season, but he hasn't had the season that he had last season. He was the first player on the team sheet last season. Whereas, in my opinion, Mane, he's taken it to another level. He had a great season last season. He's had an incredible season this season. And Mane, when Mo Salah hasn't turned up and he's gone game after game after game without scoring, there was Mane picking up the pieces, continuing Liverpool's incredible form, continuing Liverpool's incredible goal-scoring form for their attacking three. And there he was. Mane stepped up to the plate and, in my opinion, has had more consistency this season than what Mo Salah has. And he is my winger for my team of the year. And last but not least, I have to go with Sergio Aguero. He's a striker that loves scoring goals. He's flourishing. Everyone was doubting him, saying he wasn't a Pep Guardiola striker. And here he is, scoring loads of goals. And it's exactly what you want from your striker. He's had another outstanding season, and once again in my team of the year for this season. For the bench, like I said, it was between Allison or Ederson, so I put Ederson on the bench for the goalkeeper. For the defenders, I've gone for Conor Coady. I think he's had a wonderful season for Wolves. I think Wolves have had a great season, in my opinion, and so he's made it onto my bench. And Ben Chilwell is also the wing-back. I've gone for a left-back there, and so I put Ben Chilwell, because I think he's had a very solid season for Leicester, and I think it's unfair not to mention him and put a player there. I think the only other player I can think of would be Mendy, but considering Mendy's been injured for a large majority of the season, you're looking for players that have played a lot of games. Chilwell has. Chilwell's been consistent. He's a solid player. He's in the team. I've also gone for David Brooks. I'm just varying things up here because there's other players that have arguably had better seasons. It's create a few talking points. So I put David Brooks of Bournemouth in there for the midfield. I think he's had a wonderful season. And I've also put Declan Rice in there at West Ham. I think, again, he's had a wonderful season. These are the season where these players have really stepped up. And I'd be very surprised if these players that are in these teams on the bench and in the starting 11 for my team of the year aren't getting snapped up by the top 6 big Premier League clubs, because they've just had wonderful seasons. The price tags must be incredible. And what's great is the large majority of these players, the homegrown or English players or players that are from the UK, they've had wonderful seasons, and it's just great to see. And they're all relatively young players too that are stepping up to the plate. So there's a lot of selection headaches, not just for England, but for the big 6 too in the Premier League. Are they going to come sniffing? Are they going to want to move abroad? Are they going to want to stay at their clubs and prove themselves? We'll have to wait and see. But it's an exciting time for these players and for the clubs. I've gone for Mo Salah. I've already mentioned Mo Salah, so I don't think there's a lot else to add. Like I said, I think he's had a great season, so Mo Salah's on the bench. I just think Mane's had more consistency, so he's in my starting 11. And I don't think Salah's had a stronger season as what Raheem Sterling has. Feel free to debate that in the comments if you wish. And I've also gone for Harry Kane, a player, again, that's incredibly consistent, scoring lots of goals and doing incredibly well. And so that bench is made up of a nice few players from several different clubs. It's a good bench, and I think that's a good team. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below, and also your team of the year and your bench too, who makes it into your team. Some honourable mentions here that I've not mentioned, but I feel like they deserve to because they've had good seasons. So I'm talking James Maddison of Leicester. I think he's had an incredible season, very unlucky not to make it onto the bench. I just wanted to kind of put more players in there, so hence David Brooks made it on there from Bournemouth, because I've already got Chilwell in there from Leicester. So I just wanted to try and get a wide variety of players from different clubs. Paul Pogba, very hit and miss. If he'd had more consistency, he'd be pushing for the starting 11 for this team. Paul Pogba, under Jose Mourinho, I felt like his performances weren't very good. His attitude was coming into question. Come under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's kicked on from there. He's had a slow March, April, and into May, Paul Pogba has, but I thought that for the first couple of months under Solskjaer, he was wonderful, and he was showing the potential of why Manchester United were crazy to let him go, why they were crazy paying so much money, because he is a very good midfielder, just needs more consistency. I've gone for Leroy Sané. Controversial this, but I feel like Leroy Sané's not had as good a season as what he had last season, and there's been more consistency, particularly from Liverpool's wingers, along with Mane, I'm talking, and also Salah. I feel like they've had more consistency there, and so Sané, I was looking for him to kick on. He had a great season last season. I don't feel like he's had a good season this season, don't get me wrong. I just don't feel like he's had a stronger season as what he had last season. Christian Eriksen, wonderful player again, extremely consistent. I don't think there needs to be anything else mentioned about Eriksen. Alexander-Arnold is another player. I think he's had a wonderful season. Unlucky to miss out. Like I said, just wanted to not put so many Liverpool and Man City players in, because they are very good teams with very good players, and they could dominate the whole whole starting 11 and the bench and the honourable mentions, really, because they've been the two standout teams. I just wanted to change things up a bit, and like I said, Wan-Bissaka, I feel like, has had a very strong season. Chilwell's had a very strong season. So I put Alexander-Arnold here. I'm sure many people will put Alexander-Arnold in their team of the year. I've also gone for Marcus Rashford. Again, he's another player that's excelled well under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's a player that you might want to keep an eye on for the next year, see how he does for Manchester United. He's a player that really needs to kick on. He's had another good season this season. Can he make it a great season and get in the team of the season for next season? We'll have to wait and see. I've gone for a little controversial one here. I've gone for Ross Barkley. Who'd have thought Ross Barkley would be starting in Chelsea's midfield? Who'd have thought Ross Barkley would be called up for England? It's incredible. He's had a solid season. It's been some mistakes here and there, and he's not had an amazing season or a stronger season as some of the other midfielders have had, but I feel like he's proved himself, and I wasn't expecting it, and so I felt like he deserved to be mentioned in this video. I feel like he's had a good season, so kudos to Ross Barkley. And last but not least, we can't not mention Roberto Firmino. I think he's had a great season for Liverpool once again. When you're playing as attacking football as what Liverpool play, and as what Manchester City play too, you're always going to get these players dominating these lists, and Firmino has to be mentioned. He's had another good season. Now, to end this video, just going to talk about the Young Player of the Year and the Player of the Year, in my opinion. Now, very close. I've gone for Young Player of the Year to be Bernardo Silva, even though Bernardo Silva, I think, is kicking on for 22. I think it goes up to like 24, 25 or whatever it is, which is ludicrous. But I think Bernardo Silva has had a wonderful season, and so he is my Young Player of the Year, and a top 3 or 4 players for Player of the Year. My Player of the Year, I've gone for Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk's had a wonderful season. He's had an incredible season, and he's a player that has really made the difference for Liverpool. Does it depend on if Man City or Liverpool win the title? I'm not too sure. I think you've got to assess it over the 38 games, and Virgil van Dijk has been extremely consistent. He's always maintained being Liverpool's best defender and has always made the difference, and so in my opinion, he is my Player of the Year. He has made the difference. Raheem Sterling is so close behind him. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they might wait, see how the title race goes, if Manchester City or Liverpool look like they're accelerating ahead, go with one of their players, but Sterling, in my opinion, has been Manchester City's best player this season. Bernardo Silva close behind him. Virgil van Dijk has been wonderful for Liverpool. So is Mane, so is Salah. So I'll let you debate that in the comments below. But there we go, that's been the video. Hope you enjoyed this video, just something new. I am away at the moment, so this is why I put these videos out. So if you're interested in more content like this and more football videos, make sure you press the red button, subscribe, press the bell and put your push notifications on. Slap a like on this video so I know you enjoyed this video. You can check out my social media links in the description below, and I'll see you all again for the next video. So it's been JSGC. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.